99.3 JQ99, the Chris and Emilee Show, laughing louder, digging deeper, living larger on this Thursday, November 18th.
And that is Chris Tomlin with How Can I Keep From Singing? So glad you're with us.
And, there is a large independent union of airline pilots, and they are the largest in the world. You know what they're urging their members to do?
I have no idea.
To boycott the body imaging machines currently being rolled out in airports all over the globe.
Okay.
Citing dangers of excessive exposure to harmful levels of radiation during the screening process.
Ooh, yikes.
Yeah, plus there's a danger to security workers of excessive exposure to harmful levels of seeing us all naked every day. That's what I'm thinking.
But here's the thing. How in the world are you supposed to boycott something like that? Isn't that like, okay, then you don't get to fly, right?
Don't come on my plane. Don't have to use those things. Well, as you know, many of you know, we went to Guatemala recently, and we had to go through 3 different times we had an opportunity to be picked to go into one of those things, and neither one of us got picked on either one of those things.
I don't know. I don't know if we just look really like these two couldn't pull anything off or what.
Either that or they looked at me and they're like, oh, I don't think we can stomach it. We just ate lunch, But so we go through Houston both ways on the way to Guatemala, and on the way back, when you go through customs, you have to go back through it.
Right.
But the hardest thing for us was actually getting to Detroit to get out of town.
Oh.
We drove over really early in the morning, and we get over there, and I'm assuming, just assuming that we're going to fly out of, the Delta.
One airline,
go to the McNamara terminal. Well, because we're going to go to the McNamara terminal because it's Delta, and we have a Delta Sky Miles, and I just thought that's where when in Rome, go to the Delta counter. So we go over there, we get the car unpacked, and we get the luggage cart, and we take all of this into the thing, and I finally check my ticket, which was booked by somebody else, and I realized, no, we're flying Continental.
Yeah, thanks for that little bit of information there, dude.
It was right there. I could have looked at it, but for whatever reason, I didn't. And so now
Mr. Magoo goes to the airport.
That's right. And so now we're 2 miles from the northern airport, or the northern terminal, which houses Continental.
Yeah.
And it's getting really close on time.
Well, see, and then here's the thing. I get there, I see all of Delta, and I'm like, we need to get to I just knew right away. It's like, we need to just get to the other airport, or the other terminal. And so I'm like, come on, let's go. And you're like, wait a minute. And you walked up a little ways, and then you found someone, and you're like, excuse me, is Continental at the other terminal? And they're like, yes. And so then
I'm thinking, maybe I could catch a quick shuttle, and we wouldn't have to move the car, but no, it became clear.
I'm like, see, now let's get to the car, get to the other terminal. Okay, would it be faster for me to get a shuttle? Or I'm just like, come on, let's get out of here, let's go.
Well, and so at that point we decided we had to go back to the parking garage and load the car back up.
Yeah.
And then we had to go to where you pay, and I had to give them $3 for the 20-minute opportunity. And so then we head back out, and so we get back on the road, and we've got that 1.5-mile drive, many of you know, between McNamara and the northern terminal.
Right.
And at that point, we're really stressed because now it's going to be really close. And if we get picked for one of these full-body scans, we might not make it. I mean, it's going to be really tight.
Yeah, thankfully it was early.
So I chuckle a little bit, just to kind of diffuse the tension. And then that's when Emilee just freaked out. She sucked in a big, deep breath. You're trying to play the Amazing Race! And I'm like, no, I am not trying to play the Amazing Race.
You have always wanted to play the Amazing Race. It occurred to me, it wasn't that you chuckled, it was the way you chuckled. You just kind of looked at me, through the corner of your eye, and
yeah.
And I knew. I'm like, oh my goodness, he's doing this on purpose, because you're running through the parking ramp with your bags just flying behind you. And it all just became crystal clear that you have been, in your mind, just having fun playing the Amazing Race this morning.
No, and that's not it. Even though I would love to have you and I jump on the mat at the pit stop and have Phil say, Chris and Emilee, you're team number 1.
I don't think he'd be saying that.
I know. What he'd be saying is, Chris and Emilee, I'm sorry to tell you, in our very first leg of the race, you have been eliminated.
Yes.
In fact, we're stunned, we're shocked that someone could fall this far behind on the first leg of a race. In fact, we can't believe you two raised children.
In fact, this originally was not an elimination round, but we changed it halfway through. Looking at you, realizing, let's just eliminate
So it wasn't me playing the Amazing Race. It was simply me trying to make up for one of my mistakes. long story short, we made it on the flight. We made it to the gate with 5 full minutes to spare.
Oh, 5 full minutes.
5
Yes,
full minutes
thank
to spare
you.
before they started hoarding us into coach.
So the only thing I can think of that would be more fun than that would be doing that in a foreign country. Oh, wouldn't that be fun, Chris?
That would be great. I think we should go on the Amazing Race.
No, I don't think we should.
They won't let us anyway. Who are we kidding?